Okay, I'll call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. First up, adoption of the agenda. Any misprints, any additions? If not, one of you could move to take it. Councilor Carlson, all in favor? Carried. Regular meeting, July 20th, 2020. Any issues? Great.
Nope, everything looked great. I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a delegation tonight, but they're having technical problems, so we'll carry on until they show up. First up, correspondence. The Honorable Casey Madhu, Minister of Municipal Affairs, Municipal Stimulus Program. Mary.
Yes, so this was just a letter announcing the municipal stimulus program. We'll be discussing it later on the agenda. We will be receiving $449,325. The funding was allocated based on the same formula as the federal gas tax, and we must begin construction of projects in 2020 or 2021, and it must be completed by December of 2021. So we did take that to FIPSI, and we have that further on the agenda later.
Correspondence, the Alberta Police Advisory Board. Introduction. Mary.
Okay. The government has created an Alberta Police Advisory Board, and they're doing they're implementing it in two phases. The first is an interim board, and they will be completing the structure and the scope of the board, and then beyond that there will be a further board called the Advisory Board that begins a 4-year term. So the interim board has a number of councillors from MDs, towns, small as well as large, and then also the board chair from the Alberta Association of Police Governance. So we'll wait and see what happens with that advisory committee.
Great.
So Doug, just before you go too much further,
Yeah.
she's texted me that she's come in as on the phone.
Oh.
Yeah, like they can call in by phone number.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if maybe we can hear her. So let's just try this and see if we can run audio. This is not running. There it is. Shanice, can you hear us? Might just have to get her to phone in actually on the phone, so I'll square that away.
Yeah. She can't get, she was in the one time.
I know, but she said her audio wasn't working, wasn't responding. So,
That sucks. Okay, where were we? Number 3, Alberta urban municipalities, provincial government has rejected the principles of local democracy. All right.
Yes, so I did talk to council at the last meeting about the changes to the Local Authorities Selection Act, and this is in response to that. AUMA is very concerned with the government passing Bill 29, which has the changes to the Local Authorities Selection Act. They say that they're deeply disappointed with the government's unwillingness to respect the principles of their members, that the members endorsed. And basically what's happened is the government took none of their recommendations, and so they're continuing to try to work with the province to rectify that. They did ask that we distribute their press release locally, and I did send that under the mayor's direction to the local press.
Yeah.
So
I've got her here if we can.
okay, they can't see you.
I can see her. So
Yeah, and so you just need to unmute. Okay, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Okay, go ahead, Doug. I want to introduce.
Okay, I'm Doug McPherson, the mayor of Claresholm. I think we got you up on the big screen, so we'll just let you kick off and go ahead and introduce
Please, turn
yourself
up the volume on that speaker.
and give your presentation. I don't think she can hear
Oh,
us.
is Shanice presenting?
Hello?
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Just
if you
keep
can-
Do you want me to start or?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself, and if you could start your presentation.
Okay, yes, I am Shanice Tarasov. I work with Wild Rose Community Connections, and I'm part of the Claresholm Food Rescue Program that was started in May. We also have, she might have introduced herself already, but Marianne, my executive director of Wild Rose Community Connections.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, there she is. Hi.
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 Hi, I'm Marianne Dixon, Wild Rose Community Connections, and the Executive Director. And I've been before Town Council before, and that was in capacity a few times representing the station in Claresholm. And now we're here representing our agency around our food security programs.
Thank you.
Okay. And you've got a presentation for us. Do you want to explain your program to us?
Shanice, do you want to talk about the food checks?
Yes, so when we brought the food rescue program to Claresholm, opened in the middle of May. And so I'm not sure if you're familiar with that program, but we rescue food from IGA and Roy's Place 3 times a week. So this is food that would be thrown out into the landfill due to best before dates or damaged packaging. So we rescue the food and then we register members of the community and distribute the food out 3 times a week. And so with that program, that also runs in Higher River, they have an initiative called Snack Shacks. And so we thought it was a good time to build on the food security program in Claresholm with implementing these Snack Shacks. So they are similar to a book bungalow. We started the initiative in High River and they are around the community. There's one at the skate park or one downtown. And they are a little wood shack that has non-perishable snacks in them that can be accessed 24 hours. And they're for children and youth. We try to pick locations that are high volume of children and youth. And so it's a way to, when school is out and kids aren't part of the lunch program, that they would still have access to food in an anonymous way. So
Yeah.
we in Claresholm, sorry, go ahead, Marianne.
It's okay, go ahead.
So in Claresholm, we were thinking a good start. I spoke with the library and they would be willing to have a snack shack in the library. And then we were looking at a place more in the community, suggesting the skate park where we could put up the actual snack shack and so kids could have access there at any time.
When we first put these out in High River, obviously the snack shacks are out in the public and anybody can access them. And we were actually pretty pleased to see too that some seniors were accessing the snack shacks. And we had one in the library that also included a pantry with a little fridge, and one at the recreational center that had a fridge so that we could have fresh fruit and some dairy in there and juices. But the snack shacks that are outside wouldn't have anything perishable in them. They're all bought pre-packaged, and we don't package anything. They're all bought packaged already. And Alberta Health Services was involved with us in looking at those snack shacks and were they okay? Were they going to, did they pass the inspection? And they did. And even with COVID, when we restarted the snack shacks after some of the restrictions around COVID had come up, we again consulted with AHS and asked them about maybe attaching a hand sanitizer to the snack shack. And the inspector said, no, you know what, that's not necessary. They're packaged well enough and you don't have that much in there. People would probably just walk off with the hand sanitizer anyway. So. And the other thing that came up was one community concern. We've only had one concern raised in the 2 years we've been doing this, and the one concern that was raised was, what about malicious tampering with the food? Somebody could stick needles or something in the food, and after a lot of discussion, the same is true at grocery stores who are equipped with cameras. That has happened, and so it really is about not everything is preventable. Nothing like that has ever happened in the 2 years, but we did address the concern, and it was felt that it just wasn't a significant enough concern to worry about.
Any questions?
Nope.
So when I read the material, it sounds like everything is done through them, they man it, volunteer it. You're looking for a recommendation if whether or not we're interested in having this program?
Right.
Okay. Cool, that's very good.
Okay, do you guys have anything to add? Marianne?
Other than it's just been really well received, and we received some funding to help support this. Our funding for the snack shacks here in High River are through the United Way, and they purchase all the snacks to go into the shacks. So there's no cost to the community. We find funds to support the snack shacks.
Okay. Perfect. All right, well, we will take it under advisement. We never make a decision on the night a presentation is made. Next council meeting, we will bring it back, and we'll get back to you with a decision. Thank you for your time.
Perfect, thank you.
And we'll be talking to you
Yes,
again.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Super, thank you.
Can you just stand it on there, Deb? I'll just check this out.
Hello. Number 4, correspondence. Alberta Urban Municipal Association, AUMA statement on Alberta Health Services changes to the municipal 911 dispatch. All right, you got anything?
Yes, so Alberta Health Services announced that they're centralizing or consolidating their EMS 911 dispatch across the province. What that means, it will take away dispatch centers operated in Calgary, Lethbridge, Red Deer, and the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo. So AUMA has put out a statement to AHS. They want to have more information about the impact of the consolidation on response times. And again, they're frustrated with the lack of consultation when these decisions are being made, sort of arbitrarily. So that's the gist of the letter.
Any comments?
You don't want to hear?
Sure you do.
No.
Yeah, it'll be live. I was at a meeting last week. Pincher Creek is very upset by all of this. And along with Carson County, I mean, Fort McLeod's upset. Every municipality is very upset with this. They figure it could add up to 15 minutes to just the phone time before dispatch is really completed because of the relays that'll go through now to get to the SWAT center.
Didn't we try this once before?
Yeah,
Didn't work then.
didn't work then.
Not gonna work, no.
No, technology didn't work that time. They centralized in Calgary and it didn't work. I don't know, what does council think? I mean, the best we can do is send a letter of support for AUMA to our representatives, to the minister, and to the premier. What do you think?
Yep.
Yes. Do we need a motion to direct administration to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
So we're rejecting it.
All in favor of that motion? Carried. Yeah, Pincher Creek has really gone off the wire on this.
Have they?
Yeah. They're actually going to, they're talking about withholding their tax payments to the province from them and allowing the province
Going out of
to
their
sue to
guts.
get them. Yeah, they're really going out on the wire.
Well, we all look like bandits, it sounds like good sense.
Unfortunately, you know, the government is bandits now. But.
Mm.
Number 5, correspondence, Alberta Urban Municipality, AUMA, Assessment Model Review, Urban Impact Report. Marion.
All right, so the province has been looking at the assessment model for, basically it's the linear properties, which would be the oil and gas and other utility companies throughout the province. And they have come up with 4 scenarios. This is not written in stone yet, but the discussions were taking place in closed session. And our associations, AUMA and ARMA, have been now given permission to disclose that information to the municipalities. Basically, scenario A through D has the same effect on us. I don't know what those scenarios are, and because this was just announced, so I was supposed to be on a webinar with AUMA on Friday, but my link didn't work, and when I called AUMA, no one ever called me back to help me get in, so. So I apologize, I don't know much about the scenarios other than it has, apparently will have the same impact on us with a reduction in our total assessment base of 1.732 million, which in turn calculates out to a reduction in our tax collection of $19,746. Now that's just the municipal portion of our tax. There's some concern I have that total tax would be a reduction of $26,297. So what happens with the linear tax is we also collect school tax from that. And so if they reduce the overall assessment for those commercial or industrial linear properties, the province is still going to try to collect the same amount of education tax, so it's going to have to be distributed through other assessment classes, which would be residential, commercial, whatever, because it's actually reducing the assessment across the province. The other concern is the rural municipalities. This will have a significant impact on them. I don't know the exact figures, but Derek talked the other day in one of our meetings that I think theirs is going to be in the range of over $800,000, which that's a significant impact. If it's, one of, I don't know which scenario, I didn't look at the details again. So all of these intermunicipal collaboration frameworks that have been negotiated throughout the province over the last couple of years have the potential of having to be renegotiated because those rural municipalities are saying that they possibly won't have the capacity to be able to honor those agreements that they've already negotiated. So it has a significant impact on both urban and rural municipalities. And it appears that the benefit is going to the larger oil and gas companies and not necessarily equitable across the board, from what I'm understanding from what I've been reading. So I think it's probably important for council again to send a letter of concern to the province about the impact that this is going to have. We have our police funding that we'll talk about a little bit later that has been put on our plate. Now, if we lose another $20,000 and change in tax revenue from our linear properties, that's, you know, a significant swing over this year's budget. There's about $45,000, almost $50,000 swing. That doesn't take into account the $75,000 we collected this year. So overall, we're looking at, you know, 100 and change impact to our budget for 2021 if this change takes place.
If this change takes place. And it just, news keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
I guess at this time,
Plus
all
it
we
could-
can do is get for information.
The MD's impact is gonna impact us.
Sure will.
They're gonna lose $800,000. Guarantee we're gonna be affected.
Well, they will be. I did talk to a couple of the councillors, and like, they're going to have to find a way to pass it on to the ratepayers, but they're not too happy about it. And when you take their, like Ian pointed out, when you take their ratepayers based on the size of their MD,
Yeah.
it's not a huge hit
Yeah.
to the individual. But it's not a good thing for the MD, $800,000
No.
out of their property. If you break it down over the entire MD, the tax per quarter, it's not as huge a hit as you know, it looks like when you see that big number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still not good.
No,
I mean,
still not good.
The provincial government is just every other month coming up with a new way to take more money off municipalities. And there's no way to stop this. It's just a continuous bleed of our budget. So I don't see what we can do. Other than write another useless letter.
I think it's important though to have your position on record.
Okay. Well, let's send another letter supporting the AUMA's stance. And that this is going to be too big an impact on ratepayers in Alberta. You guys want to add to that?
Sounds good?
Okay, somebody make that motion. Councilor Schwarzberg. All in favor? Carried. Copies to Roger, the Minister, Premier, and AUMA. Okay, moving on. Third Zone Skate Club. Marion.
So the skate club is ready to do their fall registration, and to comply with the COVID protocols and the spacing, the arena lobby isn't big enough for them to host it there, and so they're looking at using the ice surface. And they're just asking if council would consider either reducing the rental fee to the same as what they paid last year for the foyer, or give it to them for free. They have added cost of PPE and unsure of registration numbers, and so they just would like a little help from the town if possible.
I think we should give it to them for free.
I'll make a motion that we waive the fee.
And allow them to use the ice surface.
Allow them to use the ice surface.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor? Carried. Correspondent, the Bridges at Clarzone Golf Club. Request for water. Marion?
Yes, so in the past, we have provided water to the golf course through our raw water system. They're being a little preempted this year to make sure that they have approval in case they do run low. They are it's getting there, and of course with this hot weather over the next week or two, it could potentially dry things up significantly. So in 2017, we did give them water. It was an exceptionally dry year. At that time, we made application to Alberta Environment to increase their license, because when we give them water now, it comes off of the town's license. That is still in Alberta Environment's court, and we're still trying to work through getting that license approved. I think we're just about there, but it's been a little frustrating. So we would need a motion from council to allow us to provide water to the golf course through that raw water system. There is a connection. Basically, all we do is turn on a valve and it fills up one of the ditches, one of the canals, and goes down into the ponds from there. So
We've done this in the years past. We used to do it, we turned in a hydrant on the corner of Willow Road and Westland, and just let it run down the street. That was not that many years ago.
No.
But I was at the meeting when this was discussed, that there's going to come up against water problems. I suggested they get on it now, rather than wait until they're out of water. There is a possibility they could pump, and they explained it in there, from pond 2 across the road. But the problem is, if you drain that down, as explained in there, then you gotta fill that up before anything comes in the outlet. So I feel we're better to get ahead and not pump that. And also the pumping of it is full of trash. Like it is just because of the heat and the lack of goldfish. It is absolutely full of trash. So pumping it would be a major chore. Too bad we can't have the goldfish back.
We can.
No, you can't. Not legally.
And it's not gonna be hurtful to our water levels, to the town's water levels, to support them at this level?
Oh, no, we've done this.
Yeah.
This is just something we've done numerous times. That's why we instigated this water license, so as they would have their own license and they could call for the water when they needed to implement their drought strategy. I have talked to Roger quite a bit in the last few weeks, and we do have the application now is proceeding through the hurdles it has to. We didn't know where it was at. It was kind of frozen until we knew where the engineering was at. They've now said that they accept the engineering consent, which doesn't mean it's rushing through. It just simply means now it's starting to progress through. Now that you can interpret that any way you want, because I certainly don't know how to interpret it. It will happen, and when it happens, and we were lucky. Roger actually did get to work on it and push it.
I can make the motion that we give the golf course water, get them through the season. That's what we need.
And then we leave the negotiation between administration and the golf course for when and where. We don't need to be cold each time. Okay, what did that end up sounding like? Wait till green day.
Okay.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to allow the Claresholm Golf Club to access raw water from the town of Claresholm as needed for the purpose of watering the golf course due to hot and dry conditions until the end of the 2020 season, to be negotiated between the town administration and golf course management.
That sound like what you said?
Absolutely.
All in favor? Carried. Request for decision. Existing administration building insurance. Marion?
all right, so with the construction of the new daycare and play school, which we expect to be done in 2021, one of the things that we've been looking at is the ability to actually be able to reduce the insurance on this building. They've always had it at replacement cost, which was 4.7 million plus $250,000 in contents. So we're paying about $6,700 a year for premiums on that. So we're recommending that we actually reduce that to $500,000 because it would be sufficient to cover the cost of demolition and whatever if there was destruction. And then also to have the contents be insured at a value of $500,000 as well. AMSC does not provide mid-year adjustments, so that's why we're bringing it to you now, so that we can notify them to have that change done as of December 31st or January 1st, so we get a reduction in our premiums for 2021.
Any questions?
Sounds good. I'll make that motion.
Okay, Councilor Zimmer, question?
Moved by Councilor Zimmer to insure the building located at 221 45 Avenue West for the agreed value of $500,000 plus contents of $500,000 as of January 1, 2021.
Sounds good.
All in favor? Carried. Request for decision of recreation fees and arena advertising policy. Marion?
All right, so on an annual basis, we review the recreation fees and the arena advertising policy. We did present these policies to the Admin Services Committee, and there was some recommendations on changes for those at that committee level. The arena user basically remains unchanged until September of 2021, at which point there would be an approximate 2 to 5% increase. So leave them the same for this season. The aquatic center fees remain unchanged until May of 2022, other than to add material costs into most of the training, rather than having that included in the fee because those costs go up over time, so it would be plus training costs. Then in May 2022, there's an approximate 2 to 5% increase depending on which rate you're looking at. The campground will receive some rate increases in January 2021, but those are still very reasonable compared to other campgrounds in the area. The ball diamonds, we increased, we added actually single diamond or game or daily rates rather than strictly a weekend, because we've had some interest from out-of-town teams to come in and play 3 games on a Saturday rather than booking the diamonds for the entire time, or 1 game on a Friday night or something. So we wanted to have those rates in there. The arena advertising policy has also been updated to the new policy format, and I believe the 2020-2021 rate for that was reduced by 50%, and that was due to COVID, with the understanding that some of those advertisers may have been closed for part of that time, and so trying to give them a bit of a break. And that's about it, I guess. So we've got the 2 policies, the recreation fees policy and the arena advertising fee policy, that the Admin Services Committee have recommended to approve by council.
Questions? Motion?
Motion.
Councilor Carlson. Question?
Moved by Councilor Carlson to adopt the following policies effective August 17, 2020. 5.7.10, the recreation fees policy version 1.1. 5.7.50, arena advertising fee policy version 1.0.
All in favor? Carried. Number 10, request for decision, airport policy. Marion?
All right, with the recent transfer of the airport to the MD, we no longer have any control over the airport lands or the terminal buildings, so we're recommending that the Claresholm Industrial Airport policy be repealed.
Councilor Schultz? Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, let's hear it.
Moved by Councilor Schultz to repeal policy 5.5.30, the Claresholm Industrial Airport policy, which is previously REC 04-11, effective August 17, 2020.
All in favor? Carried. Number 11, request for decision, policy manual review and updates for human resources. Marion.
All right, so as part of our continued effort to review and update the town policies, we have a number of policies that we did present to the Admin Services Committee, and they have recommended council approve those. First is the cell phones for business use, which was a policy we had. We've amended that. Basically, the changes are that we explicitly state that the phone plan and the phone is property of the town and can be reviewed or audited at my discretion. And that the hardware is also owned by the town, and so if we ask for it to be returned, it must be returned, or else the individual would be responsible for the cost of that. The second is code of conduct policy, and that's a new policy. We do have some policies currently that address some of the areas of conduct, such as our respectful workplace policy, which is a requirement of OH&S. And our, but we don't have any general code of conduct policy. So this policy addresses a wide array of conduct-related items, but it requires that the employees conduct themselves in a professional and safe manner that will reflect positively on the town, both as a community and as an employer. We also included there some dress code policy. The next is the scented products in the workplace policy, so that replaces and amends a previous policy. Basically here what we've done is that the previous policy said that we would be a scent-free workplace, and that's obviously impossible to adhere to because there's all kinds of scents. So basically here we've said that if there is a scent that is creating a problem for another employee in some way, then we'll deal with that as it comes up. The next is the cell phone use, and that replaces an old policy as well. It was a 5-year-old policy. There's no real significant changes there. It just says that basically employees should limit the use of cell phones for personal calls while at work to attend to personal matters, as it can interfere with productivity and be distracting to others. Then we have the town internet and email policy, and that replaces an old policy that's has been in place for 10 years. And that policy actually only addressed email accounts for council. So what we've done here is we've made this policy much broader to cover issues of council and all employees who have or use a town email address or town computer or internet. It states that the email and internet access are business systems for business use by authorized employees to conduct legitimate town business. So as such, they're required to take appropriate steps to safeguard their accounts, passwords, those types of things. Emails using a town email account should only be used for business use and should always contain an official town email signature and should always remain professional and courteous. Then we have a new social media policy. As social media becomes more prevalent in the workplace and in our daily lives, we felt that we needed to put a policy in place to address the use of social media. The policy primarily focuses on the appropriate use of town social media, but it briefly addresses also the use of personal social media when your comments can be linked back to the town, when comments or posts can be linked back to the town. So it is consistent with our, I guess I'll just give you an example. If my Facebook page says that I'm employed by the town of Claresholm, and I make a derogatory comment that can be offensive, then that can be traced back to the town, and so we ask that when they're using their own social media, that you be aware of that, so that it, again, aligns with the code of conduct and doesn't bring the town into any kind of view of being disrespected, I guess. And so basically it says if they must remain professional so as not to hurt the image or reputation of the town as a community or as an employer. So again, we did send these HR policies to the union. We've made a habit of doing that. We don't have any obligation, but I believe that it's important to have the union's support of these HR policies as we bring them forward, the new policies. And we did make a minor change to one of the policies based on their recommendation, but other than that, everything was, they were okay with what was in there. So these policies are presented tonight, asking for council to adopt them.
I'll move to adopt the following policies.
Any questions before that? Okay, Councillor Cutler. Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to adopt the following policies effective August 17, 2020. 1.1.25 cell phone for business use version 1.1, 1.2.15 code of conduct policy version 1.0, 1.3.20 scented products in the workplace version 1.0, 1.4.05 cell phone use version 1.0, 1.4.10 town internet and email policy version 1.0, 1.4.20 social media policy version 1.0.
All in favor? Great. Number 12, request for decision, face coverings in public spaces. Marion?
So administration has been receiving emails from the public wondering if council is prepared to put forward a bylaw like some of the other communities in Alberta and across Canada with the requirement for mandatory face mask wearing in any public spaces. There's some comments there in the backgrounder from residents that we've received. Also, in this, I want to talk about the arena and our recreation facilities. So with the arena opening in September, there's some protocols that have been put out, guidelines put out by the province. They're still waiting to get some confirmation from Hockey Alberta on some of the mandatory things. But one of the concerns we have is with the public attending the facility for spectators. The province allows up to 100 people indoors as spectators, but in the arena it would be very difficult to have the physical distancing separation that would be needed. As well, it would be very difficult to police that. One of the recommendations was that we look at maybe limiting the number, and then we would be able to spread them out in the arena. But if we limit the number to 50, you do a quick calculation, there's about 17 kids on each hockey team. You have 2 teams in the arena, they each bring their parents with them. We all of a sudden have 68 spectators. So who's going to decide which 18 don't get to come into the arena, right? So my recommendation is that we go with the guidelines of 100, but that we make mask wearing mandatory in the arena for the 2020-21 season, unless something changes from a public health perspective moving forward.
Right. Comments?
I wear my mask when I get out of my truck. No matter whether it's here, Lethbridge, Medicine, Cypress Hills. I wear my mask every time.
I wear my mask a lot more than I ever used to. Not every time I get out, but a large number of the times, especially if I'm in the city. But what about,
The lady at the store at Cypress Hills Resort thanked me specifically for wearing my mask.
Well, I went around and talked to some of the businesses downtown. It's a 50-50 split. Half of them would like to see us put in something. Marion?
Yeah, I should probably add to that. The chamber and Brady did a quick, just online email survey of chamber members. They only got 6 responses. 4 were against and 2 were in favor. But that's all they got.
So 30% in favor. And I walked around and it was 50-50 roughly. I mean, some of them had arguments, do this, do that, but the most local one was IGA. They'd like to see us mandate nobody goes in there without a mask, but how do you do that without affecting other businesses in town? I don't think you can pick one business.
No.
Unfortunately, you can't, and personally with my business, we see all sorts of traffic come through. We have servers that have actually broken down in tiers in the back room dealing with the abuse from the customer base about the delays in service with the current restrictions that we have. That means waiting for sanitation, that means hand sanitizing at the washrooms, at the front doors.
How do people eat in your restaurant if they have to wear a mask?
Well.
Once you sit, you,
Once you sit down, you
So
can
it's
take
from,
the
But it makes no sense.
From
It just makes zero
when
sense.
you come through the door till you sit at a table, you have to wear a mask.
I understand.
When you get up to go to the washroom, you have to wear a mask. Enforcing that is next to impossible, other than if you mandate these businesses to employ someone at the door to hand out PPE, and ensure that it happens. Knowing the 50-50 split that we do have right now, and some of the staunch opinions that we receive, I would not feel comfortable mandating any business unless my staff to try to enforce that, or as a business person, take the revenue loss in already troubling town by kicking those people out. What I would like to see is a recommendation and maybe a letter written both federally and provincially to increase the public education portions of things. The ability to have a little map fly around your head. That your personal care is as important as the person across the table or in the next booth. Wearing a mask, making sure that we've got proper hand sanitation, for good hand washing, all of those things that will protect yourself personally, to make that go. But as a community, mandating mask use, I see it as a popular optic to make things to happen, but I don't think I see it as a tangible solution.
in the last month at pharmacy, grocery store, and 7-Eleven, I've estimated that mask wearing has gone up 30% in the
Oh,
last
definitely,
month.
yes.
Oh, I would 100% agree with you. The mask use is going up, and people are getting more aware of it.
Yeah.
But trying to mandate it, I think, from a municipal level is asinine.
The one thing to remember in this, and Calgary made a very big point of saying this, it's not the enforcement. It's the fact that sometimes it only takes, like Brad has been pointing out the way he is, and I wear it a lot more now, just takes a little nudge for some people, and if you get another 20% wearing them, by mandating it, the enforcement is not the important part. Education is there. I mean, God, it's all over the TV, everywhere. Education, people are ignoring it.
Yeah.
But then again, I was talking to Roger, and their stats say 10% are ignoring it. But that's a big number. When you take the total population of Alberta, 10% is a big number. And there's another 40% that's on the fence. But there's 10% that just adamant about no.
Just because we mandate it doesn't mean we have to police it.
No, Calgary's not policing it, Edmonton's not policing it. Lethbridge has already said they're not. Marion.
I just, from an administrative perspective, I question why we would implement a bylaw that we have no intention of enforcing.
Cities have done the same thing.
Because what that will do, it will increase complaints to our office and our bylaw department for people who are not wearing masks, and we will be forced to respond to all of those complaints.
And I'm going to add to that as a business owner or a staff member in the grocery stores or in my restaurant or whatever, when I've got Jim sitting at a table, masked up, quite concerned about PPE, and he's followed all the regulations. He sits there and sees somebody come in without a mask and sits down at the table next to them. They know there's a bylaw in place. They're on the staff members and owners of those businesses to do something about that violation. And it creates an incredible stress on an already stressed population. I brought questions to a few people downtown and a few of my staff members, which would end up, this would also give reason to mandate kitchen masking at the same time. I've had staff members that said they can no longer work masked up and working in plus 30-degree weather, which again puts more stress on the other staff. So I would strongly push education and support for it, but mandating it on a municipal level of our size, I can't speak strongly enough against it.
Well, our infection rate is,
It's non-existent.
but some of those people also ask for what you just asked for, education,
Yeah,
right? Some of those letters that the towns receive
yeah,
are asking for education.
absolutely. And I think education is very important. And the people that are going to adamantly push against it
They're not,
are also the people that are going to create the most headache for the business owners in it.
Yeah.
We can sit at this table and pass it and go, it's a great push to make things,
no, I
make
agree.
things to education, but we don't have to deal with the fallout afterwards. And I would hate to be a cashier at IGA after the fact.
All I want is for us to put out an education
that you
piece
wear masks.
Yeah.
saying masks help.
We can put out a letter that says we support mask wearing, but anything that mandates anything,
No.
I
No.
refuse to sign off.
Okay. As far as the education goes, there's so much of it out there now. People aren't willing to listen or read.
But I think some of that education coming from the local municipalities and the local education people and
That's what they're
and our
asking.
emergency response system that we have in place with some of the, I think coming locally, knowing that we're trying to get the information. You're right, Alberta, it's all over the news, it's all over, I don't watch the news and I don't, so, but I think coming, something that we have to do to support the community, say that we are here, we are listening, to give
We
them
do
that
know.
information to do,
Yeah.
I think
We
would
do
be very,
understand.
I think would go a long ways with the community.
We could, our next
There's
utility bill,
leadership.
put out an information sheet then.
Yep.
Yep.
We could put it on our website. And we could make a motion to recommend to the public that they wear a mask when in heavily populated areas. Would that work?
Mm.
You make that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay?
So that would be different than either the proposed resolution.
Yeah. It's one that makes no sense here.
The
I mean,
hockey,
All you can do is throw out all the different scenarios here and see which one works best for us.
Now,
But now, there's a like the hockey arena is something else we can discuss on
That-
it.
That's separate.
That's an individual thing that we can mandate.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Something else that Mary and me talked briefly about is the possibility of the people coming in, like not, I mean, we're all fairly, well, I'm really regular in here, you guys are fairly regular in here, but all visitors coming in the front, we could recommend they mask up for support of the front staff.
We already do that.
yeah.
You wear masks
Yep,
coming in?
we wear a mask and we have them wear a mask if they're visitors that wouldn't regularly be attending the office.
So if we look at town-owned buildings, like what would that look like if we, you know, like I've seen some communities do the town-owned, so your town office, your curling rink, your
That's the way
arena?
That's the way Calgary started, that's the way Lethbridge started before we
That's
mandated it.
Lethbridge.
It was just
Most
their
of-
own facilities.
Most of our town-owned facilities are run by other
Right.
organizations.
Right,
The arena is the one that's a concern for us.
Right.
Arena and the town office. That's the only ones really. Because the pool's already got a dedicated program
Right.
for people getting in and out of there.
well, that's like I'm saying, so if we did the town office and the arena, it would protect all the staff that are within those buildings.
Yeah.
Because everybody else kinda has their own mandate.
And that's town liability at the same time, right? So-
Right.
But that's gotta be a separate motion.
Hmm?
That's not the same motion.
No, okay, good.
Okay, let's deal with the first motion.
Yep.
Could we hear it, please?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to promote education of the public in all ways possible that wearing masks and face coverings is highly encouraged in public buildings in the town of Claresholm to promote health and safety of the population until the pandemic ceases.
Well, you're long.
Well done.
All in favor? Carried. Now, do you wanna deal with the arena and? Mike?
Yeah, I would make the motion to, I don't know how you wanna word it, but I do believe that arena and the town office,
There's a motion.
yeah.
Is this one done enough? Oh, it is, yeah, this one just.
Well, I would prefer that you didn't make wearing a mask in the office mandatory because that means all our staff has to wear it.
But you
I
can see
mean,
visitors to the town office.
right, but we
I see
already
what you're
have
saying.
a protocol.
You got that
in
out,
place.
yep.
We've been doing that since this pandemic started, that if anybody comes into the office for a meeting, we ask that they wear, if they're not,
Not
someone that would
regular,
be in our regular cohorts,
Yeah.
Right,
we ask them to wear a face mask.
okay, I like
And our
this,
staff wears one as well.
okay, I like this one then.
Okay. You're with your
Yeah.
name to that?
Yeah, I like that one.
The players then?
No,
No.
No.
no, this is spectators.
We can add the word spectators if you want.
I don't know.
We could just add that face coverings must be mandatory in the Clareson Arena for spectators,
Or non-participants.
just so it's
Or
clear.
non-participant?
Yeah, because non-participants, yeah.
Is that a modification?
Yep,
Which,
What
Wait a
if-
minute, no, the protocol,
Okay.
we gotta make a motion to amend.
Well, no, the motion isn't made yet.
Yeah, I accepted.
Oh.
I already accepted it from Councilor Cutler, so we have to make it, you have to make a motion to amend.
To amend it. Okay, I'll make a motion that we amend to reflect that it'll just be spectators.
But you didn't vote on the motion.
No, but that's
So
the
he
guy that
can-
came in
yeah,
and
but
gave the
he can make a
directions, so
friendly
as soon as I-
amendment.
As soon as I recognize it,
Yeah,
it has to be a motion to amend it.
Right,
I
but-
recognized it.
but you didn't vote on it, so he could just ask for a friendly amendment. If Mike accepts it, the original motion can be
Oh, that's
amended
different
without
than that guy
a
said.
separate resolution.
Oh, that's
Gavin, I
different.
friendly, will take your recommendation.
I was going by that, what that guy said, because he said you
Right.
can't adjust it just by talking back and forth.
You haven't voted on it, so.
Okay.
Okay. Can we hear the amended motion?
Moved by Councillor Cutler that face coverings / masks be mandatory in the Claresholm Arena for non-participants for the entire 2020-2021 ice season due to the inability to maintain physical distancing in all areas. unless something changes when it comes to public health in a significant way.
Like,
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 13, request for decision. Oh, dedicated CAO award. Not a request for decision.
Who wants to talk about that?
Recognition.
I could talk about
No,
it.
we actually have to make a motion to recommend that Marion for the award. We did it through
Email.
email and verbal. Councillor Carlson is making that motion. How was it worded there, Green?
Well, so, as you all know, like this, I promised them that I would get this motion if and when Marion was selected. So I have moved by Councillor Carlson to submit Marion Carlson's name for the dedicated CAO award in 2020. It is sponsored by the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association, AUMA, and the Society of Local Government Managers, SLGM, to be awarded at the AUMA convention to be held virtually on September 24th, 2020.
How does that sound?
Yay. Awesome.
Sounds
All in
just
favor?
like Keith.
Okay.
Woo!
How about a round of applause for that? Well done, well done.
Good job, Green.
You guys are pretty sneaky. Thank you for that nomination, I appreciate it.
Okay, moving.
We picked the best year for us.
Yeah.
Count the
Right,
other
I
one,
don't
she's
have to
not
get
gonna
up.
have to
Me.
walk. Last year, she would have had to walk the stage.
Yeah, make a speech.
Wow.
Okay, number 14, request for decision.
Build one here for me to walk on.
December 2020 regular council meeting. That makes absolutely sense.
that's interesting.
That's the 7th to the 3rd. No, you're moving it to the 7th.
We're asking that you move it to the 7th.
Seventh.
We had it scheduled for the 14th, but if things change in the world, I'll be away and Corinne will be away. And so we felt that with both of us planning to be gone, it would be better if but if you don't want to change the meeting, Blair can manage it. Tara can take minutes, but it's up to you
Can
guys.
change. I'm not going anywhere.
I'll make a motion to change the council meeting date then.
Okay, all in favor of changing the date to the 7th? Carried. Number 15, request for decision, municipal stimulation program.
Stimulus.
You know what he's thinking?
Stimulus.
He's thinking, let me out of this meeting.
I guess I should read the whole word.
Yeah.
Well, we're very stimulated by this money. Stimulus. I should read the whole word instead of just glancing at it. You can't even see I'm read through this one.
No.
I'm definitely not stimulated.
Wow.
Wow.
Marion?
Okay, Marion, what do you got for this one? Talk back. Go ahead and talk
He's
back.
implying something.
All right, so this is what we talked about earlier in the meeting, the municipal stimulus program that was announced by the government. We're receiving $449,325, and we met with the Facility and Infrastructure Planning Committee on Tuesday, August 11th, and presented a number of potential projects that might work for this funding. It can't be anything that we have a grant application in for any other type of grant. Again, the project needs to be completed by December of 2021. And there's certain criteria within the stimulus program that we have to meet that criteria. So out of the projects that we have on our 5-year capital plan that we thought might be a fit for this, the FIPSI committee moved to refer the water and sewer main replacement and resurfacing of 2nd Street 49th Avenue to 51st Avenue project to council for approval for an application to the Municipal Stimulus Program. That application has to be in by October 1st, so that's why we wanted to get it done now. And then there was also a second motion to refer to council to have us tender for the tennis court resurfacing project so that that can be funded from 2021 and move forward early in 2021, as we have agreed to host the 2021 Southern Alberta Summer Games. So there's 2 resolutions there for council's consideration.
Okay, any questions? Nope. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the first motion to do the water upgrades.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to apply to the MSP grant program to utilize a full allocation of $449,325 to be used for the 2nd Street West rehabilitation from 49th to 51st Avenue, including water and sewer main replacement, with balance of the funding to be deferred to 2021 budget discussions, and to direct administration to tender the detailed engineering for this project.
All in favor? Carried. The second part, anybody?
I'll make that motion for the tennis courts.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to direct administration to tender the tennis courts resurfacing project to be completed prior to the 2021 Summer Games, with funding for the project to be deferred to the 2021 budget discussions.
All in favor? Carried. Moving on, number 16, request for decision, asset management.
Again, this was discussed with the FIPSI committee, but on July 20th, we had council pass a motion for the application to FCM. That was part of Associated Engineering's proposal on our infrastructure master plan. As we got a little bit further into the details of what that grant would look like, administration was concerned about the direction that might be taking us, and that we wouldn't have any tangible outcome at the end of it. We would just have an understanding of how we would want to create a customized software system for the town. We did have a presentation from Municipal about a year and a half ago. We were interested in that, so again, we got them to give us a further demonstration. And they're willing to put the application in for us, and we're quite pleased with what the outcome would be there. We would have a software system that's been designed for small municipalities. We feel that a municipality of our size, it doesn't need to be a complicated system because we don't have the resources to be able to address that. So that was discussed at the FIPSI meeting, and there would be 2 motions required. The first would be that we would need to rescind the 2 motions approved at the July 20th council meeting, and then the second motion would be required to specifically support the grant application that Munisite would be preparing for us.
There's actually 4 motions listed here.
Yep. Well, 2 separate groups of motions. There's 4 motions total, yep.
Okay, any questions? Who would be the first to move the rescind motion? Councillor Carlson. Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to rescind motion number 20-102 regarding out-of-budget expenditures for asset management.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, who would like to make the motion for the second rescind part?
I'll make motion to rescind 103.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to rescind motion number 20-103 regarding directions to apply for the FCM grant.
All in favor? Carried. Third motion, moved by Councillor to approve the out-of-budget asset management framework. Councillor Cutler, question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to approve the out-of-budget asset management framework and system project in the amount of $62,500 with funding as follows: $50,000 from the FCM grant funding, $11,000 from existing unutilized IMP budgeted funding, $4,000 from general operational reserve funding.
All in favor?
Why is that?
Carried.
Okay.
And the last motion to apply for the grant.
The numbers don't work.
Councillor Moore, question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to direct administration to apply for a grant opportunity from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program for the Town of Claresholm Framework and System Project. Be it therefore resolved that the town commits to conducting the following activities in its proposed project submitted to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program to advance our asset management program with the following 3 activities: development of an asset management policy, strategy, roadmap, and plan, collect and compile asset information into one central database, municipal workshops, asset management principles, in-house asset management capacity, data collection in the field.
All in favor? Carried. Number 17, information brief grant notification. Marion?
All right, so we've had 3 notifications on CFEP grant applications that went in this year. The first was Kinsman Club, and they were applying for the playground redevelopment at Amundsen Park, and they've been denied that application. Also, the Willow Creek Composite High School applied for the facility upgrade for the tennis courts, and that was, again, unsuccessful. And then the Claresholm Skating Club received notification that their grant for the arena roof and mezzanine flooring was approved, but only for the amount of $42,500. They'd applied for $84,654. When we did the actual tendering for those 2 projects, they came in significantly lower than what was originally anticipated in the budget. So with this grant, we will be able to move forward with both of those projects, the roof and the mezzanine floor.
Nice.
And we will be able to complete that within budget. So Mike is already working on that flooring, and I believe they plan to begin mid-September.
Nice.
Good. Take that for information. 18, information brief, police funding regulations. Marion?
So the province put out a police funding regulation information sheet, basically just sort of clarifying their position. I just wanted to remind council again that that came into force on April 1st, 2020, and our estimated costs over the next 5 years go from $73,730, which we will be invoiced for January 2021, and we collected that this year, so we would have the funds available, up to $221,349 for year 4 and 5. So again, significant impact to our budgets.
This came up the other night in discussion with the ORSC meeting. Town Pincher Creek at the meeting on Wednesday, the AUMA meeting in Manhattan, will be trying to get support. They're refusing to pay. They would rather have the province sue to get the money because they feel they could easily win it in court because there is nothing being provided. I mean, we did meet with the RCMP out at the MD office. They've reallocated some officers and made these quick response teams, but there's not been one extra member added to justify this money. So anyways, I'm just warning you that that's something that Pincher Creek is leaning towards. Very nice.
There was a municipality that took a similar approach and didn't pay their education requisition over some discrepancies they had with the province. The province withheld all of their grant funding until that matter was settled. So it's probably a stance that I would be hesitant to.
No, I'm just warning you, I'm not telling you we're going to do that. I'm just saying this is what they're doing. And they
So-
had that one up north, I forget which community it was. The town applied for a grant, was told they were gonna get the grant for a new recreation facility. Pinch Creek had the example of what they do. They withheld all their property taxes for that year. The province emptied up the check. So there's both sides to the story, and I'd rather not get in that fight, but I'm just telling you what's something.
Yeah, but they're just gonna keep doing that.
Mistrust is tangible.
I'm just looking for some clarification on my aspect so I can talk to my constituents around this process, because my understanding is years ago we paid this bill and then it was covered by the government.
That's a different
So,
situation.
that's what I'm looking for clarification, because I'm getting it from both ends of. So when we look at this bill that's being charged, this is what, municipalities under 5,000 were being covered by the provincial government for their RCMP coverage. So the 73,000 all the way up to 221 isn't money the government is seeking to provide more employment, is to pay for the ones that we already have
No.
here.
No,
It is to put extra boots on the ground, extra
rural
researchers.
crime
extra-
unit,
But where are they?
they don't have them.
The actual school in Saskatchewan, because of COVID, had to close. So there's no new recruits. And the last conversation that we had, like Pincher had,
So over the last 5 years, then, the municipalities under 5,000 who've been provided the RCMP service with no charge.
that's not part of it, no, it's not no charge. It's simply they stopped the additional billing to the municipalities and took it out of the tax funds that they were receiving. It just like our Alberta, when we used to have to pay for health services.
Yep.
They stopped taking it directly from you and took it
Yep.
out of your taxes. So the old funding model where the RCMP, we partially paid for the officers, that was absorbed by the province and fully funded out of your tax dollars, the property tax dollars.
You just didn't see it before.
And
Right.
now they're going back to the municipality for those
To
funds.
pay for the services that we have.
Yeah, so the rural municipalities, MDs and counties have never been charged for policing.
Not
Urban
for-
municipalities of under 5,000 used to have to pay a portion of their police funding. And now they're reverting to a model where we would pay a portion of our police funding, and so would all counties and MDs.
For a
But
special
that money is
unit.
to increase both office staff, investigation staff, and boots on the ground. And it's not happening.
On the smaller, I guess it just depends where your statistics are,
They're
I
not
guess.
there's nobody to recruit.
Right?
Yeah, there's nobody.
Oh.
We actually met with the guy out at the EMD, and I mean, there was no improvement, other than he's got these quick,
There's some quick response units, there's,
they sent them into Fort McLeod, and.
Dealt with a
those
couple
out there,
situations.
They cleaned up Fort McLeod fairly well,
Yeah.
so that was brought up at this meeting too, and Fort McLeod adamantly says it didn't change a damn thing in Fort McLeod. So, you've got two sides there, one side, crime rate didn't go down, the other side, we cured it.
right, because you got the
But
front
you-
line and the behind the scenes.
But you can't expect that you're gonna have another officer or
Right.
two in the Clares Home Detachment, no.
But that is what the premise was when this was brought forward.
Rural crime.
Rural crime.
Rural crime.
And those people that would be put in our detachment would be for rural crime. But it just can't happen. There are no recruits. There are 1,100 staff short right now in Alberta.
How many is Crow's Nest is short?
11 members.
11.
So anyways, this is just information.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the RCMP's fault, it's the provincial fault. Because the MD, well, for one thing, it's hard to get recruitments for the RCMP because they're the worst paid
That's what they were saying.
police force in Canada, period. So members don't want to go there, they want to go to the city. And RCMP, how many constables have lost? I can think of 4 in the last 10 years from here that quit here and went to Lethbridge, Calgary, wherever.
Ottawa.
I know, yeah, I know a ton. I know a lot.
Yeah, you know more because you know a lot of them. But I mean, why wouldn't they quit and go get a 40% increase in pay
That and back up within 2 minutes.
and back up?
Yeah.
Not riding out 100 miles from nowhere by yourself. So it's this is just information, but it's just what it's gonna cost us, and
What
right
we're
now,
gonna
there's
get
nothing
for
we're
it.
gonna fix it with.
Sure do gotta come up with a bit.
Information brief. Any questions? Okay. Council resolution status? Questions?
Nope, everything looked all good.
Adoption of the information items.
Brad got it.
Harper? I looked away for a long moment. All in favor? Carried.
I'm still glad to see the
Motion
pine
to go in
coulee's about
camera.
90%.
Councilor Schultz, camera off, please. Okay, the motion to come out of in camera, please. Councilor Moore. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the land sales. We need a motion for piece number 1 for Mr. Armstrong. Councilor Schlossberger. And Green gives me a signal.
Okay.
Okay, question.
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to accept the offer to purchase Lot 8, Block 1, Plan 7910032 for $10,440 from Keith Armstrong, with the sale to be as is, where is, and the condition that a development permit will be in place within 1 year.
All in favor? Carried. Councilor Zimmer, you're making the next one?
I'll make the motion for the second lot, as is, where is, with the conditions of development within a year.
Question.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to accept the offer from Krishna Metals to purchase the following parcels. So Lot 3, Block 6, Plan 7910032, Lot 7, Block 4, Plan 7910032, Lot 8, Block 4, Plan 7910032, and Lot 9, Block 4, Plan 7910032, for $147,810, with the sale to be as is, where is, and the condition that a development permit will be in place within 1 year.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, motion to adjourn. Councilor Carlson, we are adjourned. 8:47.